Hey, you know, years ago, the crappie kicker was built off the foundation of the go-go minnow. And what we did with the crappie kicker was we kept that minnow-shaped body and we put a really flat tail on this, kind of like a stinger tail, that absolutely will not quit twitching under the water. It doesn't matter if the wind blows on your line or you barely pick up your rod, the crappie kicker's tail is always going to twitch. Crappie kickers come in 12 different colors and 2 different sizes. These are the colors that we have. We have Old Faithful, Firecracker, Black and Chartreuse, Electric Chicken, Monkey Milk, Buster Blue, Buster Brown, Electric Craw, Lemon Pie, Purple Pink, Electric Minnow, and Perfect Pearl. And I tell you what, if you're looking for a straight tail lure that never quits twitching in the water, check out the crappie kicker.
Got him. Oh! What do we got here? Oh, it's another little bass. He's not a bad one either. Yeah. Color choice is super important when you're swimming a grub. It all depends on the water clarity and the light conditions on what to choose. Right now you can see we're throwing white. It mimics a shad perfectly. Let's sit down and talk about what color, when, and where, and why. If you've got super clear water, maybe it's low light, super clear water though, you're gonna want something that's really natural, like this color right here. Looks just like a shad. If you've got a little bit of stain to the water, okay, and you've got sun or clouds, but a little bit of stain, think about something like this right here. This is summer gill. Gives it that chartreuse hint, a little bit of a gill or a perch pattern. This is gonna be your color choice. White, here's probably the #1 color because it works in both clear and dirty water. Dirty water because it stands out. Clear water, when you have bright skies, that's when you're gonna wanna pick up white. So think about that when you're throwing a grub. Think about your water clarity and your light conditions when you choose your color.
Hey, I want to wrap up a series of posts that I've been making this week about the YAMAMOTO Hula grub and its effectiveness in really clear water. And you know, really clear water of visibility of 6 to 10 feet or greater can be a pretty intimidating proposition. And one of the ways we combat that is to downsize the bait. And that's really the power of the Hula grub, is you get that bulky jig offering in a much smaller package. The bait consists of a 4 or 5 inch twin tail grub, but it has this molded hula skirt here on the top that does provide a little extra bulk, but again, it's in a much smaller package. Additionally, that hula skirt doesn't really slow the bait down a lot, so I can actually fish this bait on a 3/8 ounce YAMAMOTO jig head, even out to say 25 to 35 feet of water, and the bait will still get to the bottom in a reasonable amount of time. But when I lift and drop the bait, I feel like it's a much more natural falling motion than, say, a 1 ounce football jig that falls to the bottom, you know, really aggressively. So that little small jig head also has a light wire owner hook in it. And to me, that hook doesn't overpower the bait. And just as importantly, I can punch it through a fish's mouth if I've got a cast out there 30 or 40 feet away.
This is a trout magnet. The trout magnet has become one of the top selling lures around the country over the past 20 years. One of the biggest questions we have though is, how do we fish it? We know wherever we go that if we use the system we fish with, we outfish everybody around us. So we want to teach you how that system works to help you catch fish on the trout magnet. The first thing you have to know when you start fishing the trout magnet is we use 2-pound line on the entire spool. 2-pound SOS was designed just for fishing the trout magnet. It's a light line, but very strong. I catch giant fish in the 2-pound test. So you start with 2-pound line, then the next thing you have to have is a good light action rod, something with a good backbone. The SLS rod and the Trout Series rod that we sell has exactly that. It's a fast tip. It's not a noodle in the middle. Very important. When you're getting a reel, make sure you get a reel with a metal spool, open face, that has a good drag system on it. And make sure it's something that you can fish that light line on that's not a big spool. A 1000 series and smaller is perfect. The next part that's very crucial is the Easy Trout Float. It's a very small float. It's got a slot in it. It makes it go on and off the line very easy. Once you get this setup done, this is the only thing you move as you fish. Now watch how easy this is. You take the Easy Trout Float, you pull the little peg out, and you slide the float onto the line. The float now is just going through the big part of the hole, and I'll take the peg and pinch the float. Now it's stuck there. All I got to do now when I go to different spots, pull the peg out, slide it up, and repeg it. Once you have your easy trout float on your line, you can tie your fluorocarbon leader to the main line coming out of your rod. Fluorocarbon is dense and clear in the water and helps the lure to fall more naturally, but more importantly, trout can't see it. Does this make a difference? Oh my, I would drive all the way back home today if I forgot this. You tie 18 to 24 inches of it on and take your main line coming out of your rod and your fluorocarbon leader and put the two ends together. Make a granny knot 3 times and tighten it down and you're ready to go. Once that 18 to 24 inches is on, you're ready to tie your trout magnet onto your fluorocarbon leader. First, you take your line and feed it through the eye. Do not ever use a snap or a swivel with the trout magnet. It completely messes the action up and it just doesn't work. So take the trout magnet and feed it through the line like this. Now at this point, you can tie any line that's got a good twist in it. We like what we call the trout magnet knot. It's also called the Pitson knot, which is a very easy knot to tie and is very strong. Basically, in my right hand, I've created a gun. And I run the line through my fingers, down through the trout magnet and up to the end. And if you notice, here's the end of the line right there. What we're going to do is we're going to spin the lure up over that tag end 5 or 6 times. Once it stops, in my right hand, I've created a loop. And I hold it right at the base of that loop until I can feed the line end through that loop. Then I grab a hold of it. I pull it just tight a little bit, then I can let go of that tag end, and a lot of times I'll wet this right through here so it doesn't kink up, and I'll slide that knot down and tighten it up. Now I trim off my end, and I'm ready to go. Once your trout magnet is tied onto your main line, you want to make sure that the body is perfectly on straight. So here's how that works. The trout magnet's got a split in the tail. The body has a split in the tail. What you want to do is you want to take your hook and your body, and you want to run the hook right through the center of that body and out the split of the tail. Once it comes out the split of the tail, if you push it up, it should look straight. If it does not look straight, re-thread it and put it back on. Now we're set. We set our drag because we have 2-pound lines, so we can pull it out. And now with this trout magnet system, you're ready to hit the stream. Now the next thing we want to do is show you how to read the water. Check this out. As you look at the river, you'll notice as the stream comes down through here, you're looking for the seam in the water where the water is going to move. We're going to want to cast upstream and let it drift past us, getting a more natural drift, catching those fish that are all facing upstream, looking for food to drift past them. So what we want to do is we want to cast upstream and know that we're going to drift. I think I'm about the right depth through here, and I'm going to pop it as I come through, as I drift through the river. As long as it's drifting naturally, that trout magnet's natural, and that right there is what happens.
Hey, I'm John Godwin, duck commander, fin commander. I get questions all the time, what's the best crappie bait? Or somebody will ask, well, what's the best color crappie bait for catching crappie? Or what's the best jig size for catching crappie? Well, Martin and myself has teamed with Crappie Magnet to come up with the Fin Commander kit. 86 pieces. Everything is in this kit for you to go and catch crappie for the first time. Take all the guesswork out of it, get this kit. Let's look what's in it. You got 5 16th ounce and 5 8th ounce double cross jig heads. You got 2 16th ounce and 2 8th ounce fin spins. You got 10 each of these crappie magnet bodies. You going from stained to dirty to clear water, showing up black chartreuse, orange chartreuse, and wizard's glow. You got 8 each of these slab curlies, black and chartreuse, show enough chartreuse, white and chartreuse, always good, and a new mermaid color, which is good in stained and dirty water. But this is all you need to take the guesswork out of what color, what jig size do I need to soar lip them off. This is it right here.